Hey, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you guys tonight. It's been almost 2 weeks. Well, it's been over a week since I went live. Last Shabbat, was hanging out with the family and I didn't get a chance to go live with you guys. There was a lot of things going on. But I said I can't miss 2 Shabbats in a row. So I think I'm going to do something where it's going to just be a late at night on a Shabbat. I'll call it late night on a Shabbat. The late night on a Shabbat edition, right? Where we just be late night. But anyway, thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. For those of y'all who are tuning in, really appreciate you. Everybody just logging on and so forth. We're going to get this show on the road. Of course, you know this is a Sabbath edition, so we're going to jump right into everything. This week's Torah portion is a double portion. Might touch on the Brit Kadashah somewhat. The Brit Kadashah is what we're dealing with in our congregation right now. And so this is what we will be coming from in our congregation. It's not necessarily what I will be talking to you all about, but I might touch on some of the Brit Kadashah as well. But it was actually a part in the Torah portion that I wanted to touch on. And I felt like I can just get on here, knock that out real quick, not keep you guys too long, and then prepare the lesson, because I still got to do the Sabbath school lesson. So I got to jump on here, do this. You know, I'm sort of patterning myself after the Rambam. If any of y'all ever knew about the Rambam is this guy that was a scholar. He was one of our best scholars, especially of antiquity, right? He's one of our best scholars. And he was always on the run, on the go doing something. He never rest. and I made the mistake one day, you know, when I was talking to some people, I said, you know, I want to be like Rambam, but I'm talking about Rambam as far as his wisdom and his knowledge. I didn't mean all the other stuff along with it, but I'm constantly on a run. I'm always doing something, which makes it really hard for me to pin down something time-wise. So I think I'm just going to keep it on a day. So I'm going to try to keep everything to the day like I told y'all I was going to do. With breaking news Monday, on Tuesday, criminal justice, Wednesday, rules of engagement, Thursday, questions and answers, and of course Friday, Torah Portion Friday. So I think I'm going to keep it to the day and not really try, because I be trying to regulate it to a certain time period, and then that just don't work. So I think I just need to, when I can get on, just jump on and do it, especially when it's live, so just jump on and do it, so that's what I want to try to work more on with you guys. But again, I appreciate y'all. We're going to jump right into this. This is Parashat Behar-Bechukotai. Behar-Bechukotai. Right? It is a double portion. And Bechukotai is actually the last portion for the book of Vayikra. That means next week we'll be going into Bamidbar, or the book of Numbers. And the Parashat is called Parashat Bamidbar. And I actually speak next week as well. So if you guys want to tune in and hear me do the message live on Shabbat around 2:30, 3 o'clock, I will be live next week during Shabbat, doing a message on the Gethsemane Spiritual Temple Facebook page. So if you guys want to check that out, you will be able to see the message that I bring forth. And for those of y'all who seen my messages before, y'all know I get real deep. I get real deep. So have a pen and a pad and all that good stuff. All right. But anyway, I want to go ahead and delve into this. So as we getting everything prepared, just want to remind you guys to please like and share the channel, because it helps the algorithm out, and it helps to get the message out there even further, because it's all about spreading the message of the Torah. Like I told there's one guy who I'm going to talk about more during Monday, but like I told him, when he posed questions, certain questions, and I was like, it's about the Torah. It's about spreading Torah knowledge. That's what it's all about. It's about getting it out there, right? And when my people share the information, put the information out there, that all helps everything. So that's what it's all about. So please like, share, subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, at least share it. Share with a friend. Share with somebody. Share with an enemy. Just share it. If you're not going to like it, if you're not going to subscribe, just share it. We can move like that. But anyway, so we're going to delve into this real quick. Let me see. So this is where we're going at Behar. And let me finish setting everything up for Behar. All right, so we are on Behar. All right, so let's check this out. V'yedaber Yahweh el Moshe Behar Sinai lemor. And he spoke, Yahweh, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe in, or at, or on, because this bet can either mean in or it could be on. I like how they just put at. But the bet either means in something or on something. So it could be in Mount Sinai or on Mount Sinai, saying, right? So more than likely is in Mount Sinai, because, when people went up mountains, they went into the cave areas of the mountain to commune. So more than likely is in Mount Sinai. We can say on Mount Sinai as well. They try to be politically correct and say at Mount Sinai. So that's what happens at Mount Sinai. Let me see. let me come out of this, then we can go. The Bel Eben Yisrael wa amarata alehem ki tava'u el haaretz asher ani noten lechem wa shavata haaretz Shabbat la Yahweh. Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when you enter the land that I'm giving you, the land is to cease. A Shabbat ceasing to you. The land is to rest. A Shabbat rest to you. This is a wild translation. I like this translation because it had the letters in it, but now I'm just looking like, oh, this is a wild translation. It says Shachem Bible Everett, but Shachem Bible Everett 1995. All right. So what this is letting us know is that on the Shabbat, that the land is going to have a Shabbat. We call that Shabbat that the land have a Shemitah. It's a Shemitah year. Is a year, the 7th year, when the land rests. So you can till the land for 6 years. But on the 7th year, you are to let it lay fallow. You are to plant anything. You are to do any of those things. And he told us in the 6th year was going to be enough crops grown for us to be able to survive and do it this way. Right? So let's check it out. For 6 years, you are to sow your field, and for 6 years, you are to prune your vineyard. Then you are to gather its produce. Now, notice how this is doing it. It's funny. Look, 6 days you are to work, and the 7th day you rest. 6 years you are to till the land. So that's the land working. So the land works for 6 years. And on the 7th year, the land is to rest, right? Look at what it says. But the 7th year, Uva Shana HaShavi'it Shabbaton Yiye La'aretz. Right. So, but in the 7th year, there shall be a Sabbath, a rest for the land, a Sabbath to Yahweh. Your field you shall not sow, your vineyard you shall not prune, right? So this is making it clear to us we ought to sow on the land, we ought to prune, we ought to do anything on the land, right? So, what's the importance of this? The land, just like the people, has to rest. So I just show you that the Almighty even respects the land resting. We know the weekly Sabbath is for man, right? Now they say the weekly Sabbath is for man, so man can rest. Don't want you to work every single day. I want you to rest on a Shabbat, right? But also on the flip side of that, the land itself has to rest on the Shabbat. The land has to rest on the Shabbat. Right? Ain't that crazy? Just to think about that, the land itself has to rest on the Shabbat. Think about that. I just want you to keep that in mind. Because we know human beings abuse the land. They will use the land up till the land can't do anything. The Father wants the land is meant to always be able to produce. So you got to let it rest just like a human rest. But it goes by yearly. So you begin to count the years. The aftergrowths of your harvest, you are not to harvest. The grapes of your consecrated vines, you are not to amass. A year Sabbath ceasing. Let me change this translation. This translation doing too much for me. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. This translation, I'm not feeling this translation. Hold on. Let me see if I can change this translation back. Oh my goodness. Oh, that just took the whole translation out. I'm trying to figure out how to change. Here we go. Translations. Yeah, I'm going to change that translation. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back to the JPS. Well, you know what? Oh, here we go. I'm going to try the Koran Jerusalem Bible translation. We're going to go with that. All right, so let's try that. Now, that translation was bugging. It was bugging me. It was really bugging me out. All right. This is the way it was reading. Sabbath ceasing. Like, what are you talking about? Who did that translation? They was wrong. They did that in 1985. They did too much. All right, so this is the Koran Jerusalem Bible. So we're going by that translation. All right, so what was that? Oh, I think I was right here. That which grows of his own accord. That which grows of his own accord of the harvest, you shall not reap. In other words, you can't reap it. The reason why you can't reap it, as sages teach, is because if you try to reap it, you're making it as if it's yours. When a Shemitah year comes around, you have to declare that it is ownerless, that it does not belong, your crops does not belong to you. Because what you'll see as we go through this is that the land belongs to the Almighty, but the crops is what the people are using, or getting out of the deal. But at this time, even the crops don't belong to you. So that means if somebody comes in and they trying to eat out your field, you can't say, get out of here. Get out my field. This is my field. No, this is the Shemitah year. Any stranger, anybody that's hungry can come along and pick from your crops. They can't pick from it like it's theirs, but they can grab enough for them to have something to eat. It's just how the Almighty set it up. You know, so even at that time, the poor and the hungry, think about that. That's a festive moment for the poor and the hungry. The poor and the hungry get to go in your field and eat without fear of you trying to stop them from eating. That's crazy. So not only is the Almighty looking out for the land, the Almighty is looking out for the needy as well. Right? These people that's needy, these people that say, okay, I'm in need, the Almighty saying, okay, I got you. This whole year, you can eat from this crop and can't nobody stop you. Can't nobody take it away from you. Watch, I tell you it's going to say, look. Let me see. That which grows of his own accord of thy harvest, thou shalt not reap, nor gather the grapes of thy undressed vine, for it shall be a year of rest for the land. So it's a year of rest for the land, so you can't reap it. But that don't have anything to do with people being able to come in and get it. Look what it says. The Sabbath produce of the land shall be food for you. So it's going to be food for you, right? And for your servant. So your servant can go there and eat it. And for your maid can go there. And your hired servant go there. And the stranger that dwells with you, even a foreigner that dwells in your land. Even they can go out there and eat of this if they are hungry. Now, you might be like, what you mean if they're hungry? For the most part, the foreigners is not like here in America where somebody can just come over and own some land. No, the land of Israel is not like that. The foreigners have no stake in the land of Israel. They can't own none of the land. That's why you hire them to work for you. Now you might be like, how do you hire them? You hire them by making them servants to work for you. Because other than that, they're not going to be able to survive in the land because they don't have nothing. You get what I'm saying? So we got to put all of this in context, because there's a part that I want to get to, that I'm working my way up to, that I want us to be able to see. And this part is really, really deep. And when you don't put the whole thing together cohesively, it falls apart. So let's check it out. Let me finish reading this. And for the cattle, so the cattle can eat, and for the beasts of thy land, the animals in your land can eat, the wild beasts, shall all its increase be food. So it's food for pretty much anybody and everybody, even the wild animals. So you can't put poison in it and stuff in it to make sure the animals or pests don't mess with it so they can die. You can't do none of that. Can't do none of that. Now watch what it tells you. This is where it gets even deeper. Because it's now going to mirror Shavuot. What happens during Shavuot? During Shavuot, we begin to count the omers, right? As you count the omer, you're counting 49 days. And you count the omer by counting the weeks. So you count 49 days. And at the end of that 49th day, when the 50th day comes, the 50th day is Shavuot. You had a celebration. The Torah was given on that day. For those of y'all who don't know, the Torah was given to Israel on that date as well. So that's why you have all kind of mystics and stuff that study Torah all night long for Shavuot, because they just immerse themselves in the Torah. That's why all that stuff takes place, because that's when the Torah was given to our ancestors. Now watch this part, because this is going to mirror that. Look at verse 8. And you shall number 7 years to thee. 7 times 7 years. So you're going to number the 7 years 7 times. What's 7 times 7? 49. It says, and the space of the 7th Sabbath of years shall be 49 years, right? Then shalt thou cause the shofar to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the day of Yom Kippur, you shall sound the shofar throughout all your land. Now, why are they sounding the shofar throughout all their land? Because the year that's about to come up is the 50th year, which is the Jubilee. So this is to prepare you. This is to get you ready, because the Jubilee is going to start in the spring. When the spring starts again, it's going to be the Jubilee. Now, what else does it says? And you shall hallow the 50th year. So the 50th year you are to hallow and proclaim liberty throughout all the land to all inhabitants. So in other words, people who sold themselves into slavery. Now this is the part that I wanted to touch on, because whenever we hear slavery, you have the different activists and stuff. See, your Bible talking about slavery. Your Bible talking about slavery. And I'm thinking, dude, all slavery is not chattel slavery. I repeat, All slavery is not chattel slavery. It's not that slavery that the Americans and these white people did to us over here. It's not the same slavery. It's not talking about the same thing at all. Matter of fact, the atrocities and the stuff that they did over here, they're going to have to pay for. Because number one, let me show you this. Let me show you this in the Torah. I'm about to switch over to this. So I'm going to go to Shemot. I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going to go to Shemot chapter 20. Is it 21? I want to show y'all something. Look at verse 16. This is what happened to us. So I wanted to show you this because people get so hyped and amped up and mad at the Almighty, and I can't believe this. And they be so mad, right? Look what verse 16 says. He who kidnaps a man and sells him. So the people who kidnapped us and sold us, this is for you. This is for you. The Almighty is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, you shall reap. Just like your boy Thomas Jefferson said, if there is a Almighty, he gonna punish us for what we did. Yes, he is, Jeffy. Yes, he is, Jeffy. Thomas Jeffy. Yes, he is. Right? Check this out. He who kidnaps a man, I'm going to highlight this. He who kidnaps a man and sells him. So if he kidnapped the man and he sell him so the man no longer within his grasp, he's still guilty. Or if he's found with the person who is kidnapping in his hands. In other words, if they catch him red-handed with the person in his hands, guess what's to happen to them? He shall surely be put to death. That is a death sentence. That is a death sentence. Let me see if it's going to bring up some adjacent things along with this. Devarim 24:7. If a man is caught kidnapping one of his Israelites' brothers, whether he treats him as a slave or sells him, the kidnapper must die. Do you hear what I'm saying? So let's not think they got away with it and the Almighty just let them. No, the Almighty does not play what they did to us. This is not condoning what they did to us. Whatever it talks about slavery in here is not talking about what they did to us. We got to get that under our head and got to get that understanding of that because we get so caught up with that. And I used to be the same way. So I'm partially speaking to my old self as I speak to you guys. I used to feel the same way. I hear somebody say slavery, it automatically make me feel like they talking about me. Slavery? How dare you guys? What you guys talking about me? How dare you guys talk about slavery? What's going on here? No. Every time they mention slavery, it's not talking about black people. Got to get that out of our minds. That's what we hear. We hear slavery. We think about white guys doing what they did to our sisters. We thinking about them having us in the hulls of slave ships. We thinking about all of that. But when the Bible is talking about it, it is not. I repeat, it is not talking about that. Because those people that did what they did to us, even if they didn't get punished in this world, in the world to come, it is going to happen to them. Them and their descendants that's thriving off of it and acting like it ain't no big deal. Them and their descendants. So this is a big deal. So if you caught up in it, I would say do some atonement. Try to get yourselves right with the Almighty, because it ain't in my control. Ain't in my control. Look at what it says. Shemot 21:16 says, he who kidnaps a man. So number one, you kidnap the man and sells him. So you kidnap the man and you sell him. Or if you don't sell him and the man that you kidnapped is found in your hands, guess what? You're supposed to die. That's a death sentence according to the Torah. It's not me saying it. It's the Torah. Torah said this. It's not me. Don't get mad at the messenger. It's not me. Torah saying it. Right? Look at the cross reference right here. The cross reference. If a man is caught kidnapping one of his Israelites' brothers, whether he treats him as a slave or sells him, the kidnapper must die. You must purge the evil from among you. You must purge the evil from among you. So again, when it's talking about slavery, it's not talking about what they did to us over here with this chattel slavery. That's not what it's talking about. That was a system that was used back then to help employ people. We call it now, today we call it having a job. Not what they did to our ancestors. Y'all get it? What you mean is having a job? What they did to our ancestors is not what the Torah is talking about. The Torah talk about it could be somebody that's down and out, right? And they gonna get into it, right? Somebody that's down and out, don't have no money, right? They down and out, they don't got no money. And the Torah will look and say, okay, if that person sells themselves, you can't turn around because that person sold themselves. I mean, if that person sold themselves, which means he sold themselves as a slave, he's working his debt off. So he will sell his labor for a certain amount of money. Now we sell our labor for a certain amount of money per hour. He would sell his labor for a certain amount of money per lump sum, where he would get it at the end. Right? So he was come in, he work until he get the lump sum, then he leaves with his lump sum once it's time to go. Now, we see the best example of this with our ancestor Ya'acob. Ya'acob was a servant or a slave for Lavan. That's what he was. Lavan told him, it ain't good for you to work for free just because you family. What do you want? Right? He said, I want your daughter. That'll be my payment. Your daughter, hand in marriage. He said, okay, work for me for 7 years. And we gonna do that. Right? It's the same amount of years, for the most part, that the Hebraic slave is supposed to work. Same thing. I want you guys to, because I'm trying to get it out your mind what it is, right? So when a foreigner's in the land, the foreigner want to dwell among you. He want to practice Torah. He want to be a part of the people. But guess what? He don't own none of the land. So he can't grow no crops. He can't really come in there and do anything because everything belongs to Israel. So guess what he say? I want to be able to live amongst you. What can I do? All right, well, you can work for us. We will give you X amount of money, and you work for us. Well, guess what that work is called? It's called an aved. Aved means worker. But guess what aved also means? Aved also means slave. It's the same word. Oved it can either be translated as slave or worker. So when you go to your job after Shabbat to work, you are Oved, you are a worker. But guess what that word also means? Slave. It's the same meaning. Worker and slave means the same thing. I want y'all to really get this, because this really... Let me see if I can get to this. Let's see what happens in the Jubilee, because the Jubilee is a good time. So before I go forward, let's see what's going to happen in the Jubilee, right? A Jubilee or Yovel shall the 50th year be to you. You shall not sow, neither reap that which grows of itself in it, nor gather other grapes or undress the vine. So now, you already know you can't do that on the 49th year, but on the 50th year, you can't do that neither. On the 50th year, you can't do that neither. It says, for it is the Jubilee or the Yovel. It shall be holy to you. You shall eat its increase out of the field. Now, this also what happens on the Jubilee. In the year of this Jubilee or Yovel, you shall return every man to his possession. So in other words, if some kind of way we traded our investors, or if I had to sell my land to you because I became destitute, I don't got to give you the money back. When that 50th year come, I go back to my land. It's back with me. Everything reverts back to where it's supposed to be. It's like a reset. Like somebody pressed a giant reset button and everything goes back. Look at what it says at verse 14. And if you sell aught to your neighbor, so if you sell anything to your neighbor, or buy aught, or buy anything of thy neighbor's hand, you shall not defraud one another. So you can't defraud one another. So what they mean? You're going to sell it according to the years of the Jubilee. Look at what it says. According to the number of the years after the Jubilee, you shall buy of your neighbor, and according to the number of the years of fruits, he shall sell to thee. So it's all based off the Jubilee. Why does it have to be based off the Jubilee? The reason why it has to be based off the Jubilee is because if you pay a good market amount for something, but then the next year's the Jubilee, you got ripped off. You paying for the years of crops that's going to grow for that land. That's what you paying for. All this other glitz and glamour that people see is just that. What you're actually paying for is the years of the land. That's it. It even tells you. Look what it said in verse 16. According to the multitude of years, you shall increase his price. And according to the fewness of years, you shall diminish the price. So at the beginning, where it got a bunch of years to go, you can sell the land for all kind of prices, but you selling the crops that they make it, right? Because when it get close to the Jubilee, you got to sell it even cheaper. Because like I said, you don't want to buy land and then the next day is the Jubilee and you got to get that land right back to that person you just bought it from. And you ain't get to make none of your money back. And they give you a receipt talk about, sorry, no money back. I'm thinking about nowadays. No, you had to sell and do everything according to the Jubilee. So again, according to the fewness of years, you shall diminish his price. For what he sells thee is the number of years of the produce. That's what you're selling. the numbers of years for the produce. So you're not really selling the land, you're selling the number of years for the produce. You shall not defraud one another, but shall fear your Elohim. And he says, for I am Yahweh your Elohim, right? And you shall do my statutes and keep my judgments and do them, and you shall dwell in the land in safety. And the land shall yield her fruit, and you shall eat your fill and dwell therein in safety. This is all if you do what you're supposed to do with the Jubilee. Because we're going to see later on in the next chapter, it's going to be a bunch of curses that come upon you for not doing what you're supposed to do. It'd be a bunch of curses every day that jump on you for not doing what you're supposed to do. So right now, you just want to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do. Verse 20 says, and if you shall say, what shall we eat in the 7th year? Behold, we shall not sow, nor gather in our increase. So what we going to eat? How we going to eat? Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall break forth for 3 years. That's how much abundance that 6 years is going to break forth. To be able to get you guys, hold on. Let me see. I don't want to misspeak. Oh yeah, I almost misspoke. But I'm glad I covered. So that's how much abundance is going to be in order to make sure you guys are able to eat. Because you saying, how are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? What's going to happen, right? The land shall not be sold forever. You can't sell the land forever. It's not your land. It's the Almighty's land. Ain't that what the natives told them over here when they was talking about buying land? He said, how you buying land? The land belongs to the Creator. You can't buy the land. They laughed. When the Europeans came and talking about they wanted to buy land, they laughed. But they didn't realize that they was dead serious. They thought they was a joke. They said, these guys crazy. You want to buy the land? How you do that? So it says, the land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine. The Almighty says the land is mine. You are strangers and sojourners with me. I'm letting y'all dwell on my land. This belongs to me. And in all the land of your possessions, you shall grant a redemption for the land. Now it gives us examples, right? This is almost like case law. And now begins to give us examples to better explain the law or explain the rule. If your brother becomes poor, so your brother becomes poor, right? Take it in. And has sold some of his possessions. So he became poor and he sold his possessions. Then shall his near kinsman come to redeem it. So his near kinsman, the next list of men in the family who can afford it, is supposed to come and redeem it for his kinsman. Right? It shall redeem that which the brother sold. Right? So that's what we said. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it. So let's say he don't got nobody to redeem it, but one day he gets some money and he can redeem it, right? Then let him count out the years of the sale of it. That's how it's sold, by how many years it got left for the Jubilee. Because you're selling the years. So let him count the years of sale of it and restore the overplus to the man to whom he sold it, that he may return to his possessions. So this is the thing. In the Jubilee, it comes back. But if his means do not suffice to regain it, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him who bought it until the year of Jubilee. So, if the person was destitute, but then they got into some money and they was able to get it, then they get it. But if they was unable to, then they waited to the Jubilee where they would get it anyway. And in the Jubilee, it shall go out. In other words, it's going to go out and he shall return to his possession. Everybody return back to their possessions during the Jubilee. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, that he may redeem it within a whole year, after sold, within a full year, he may redeem it. So if you sell something in a walled city, we're going to see that this is different. This is not like the other stuff, right? And if it be not redeemed within the space of a full year, then the house that is in a walled city shall become a permanent property of him that brought it throughout his generations. It shall go out in a Jubilee. Let me see how much time I got left. I still got at least 12 minutes left. Let me see. Look at verse 35. If your brother grow poor, because they giving us case like try to get us to see how this is going to work, how this is to play out. So they trying to get us to get an understanding. That's why they bringing up these hypotheses and these different viral thoughts to try to figure out exactly what he said, to try to figure out exactly what we should be able to say to others, what we trying to explain as love, and how we should look at it if we ever in a position to keep the Jubilee. What does that look like? How do those laws pertain? Because other things come out of those laws as well. If thy brother grow poor or destitute, and his means fail with you, then you shall relieve him, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with you. So look at that. You gotta bring somebody off the street and let them live with you. Take thou no usury of him. Look at verse 36. Take thou no usury of him or increase, but fear your Elohim, and that hold on, where was that? Take no usury of him. So in other words, don't try to tax your brother. Don't try to make profit off of his downfall. See how it's all about looking out for each other? Don't try to make a profit off of his downfall, right? Take no usury. Don't charge no interest or increase. Don't try to increase or figure out a way to get. Be just and diligent when dealing with each other. Look what it says, but fear your Elohim. Fear your Elohim that your brother may live with you. So you got to get it together so your brother can live with you. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy foodstuffs for increase. You can't do that. Can't do that. The way he says, I'm Yahweh Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. to give you the land of Canaan to be your Elohim. And it keeps giving us these examples. It gives an example of being sold. But again, that's the idea, right? So you might say, well, it talks about slavery all the time. Yeah, but when we put it in the whole context, we see what it is about the foreigners. That's why it's going to say something about the foreigner being a slave forever. Let me see. Let me see. Because I want to find a verse. Maybe it's this one. And if a sojourner or a stranger grow rich by thee. So in other words, if somebody working with you happens to be able to go rich, right? And your brother that dwells by him grows poor and sells himself to the stranger or the sojourner by thee or to the offspring of the stranger's family. So, let me see. So, I'm trying to think. This could be the foreigner because it say beside thee. So it's probably not necessary. Let me see what they say. Hold on real 1 second. We're going to look at what it says with the I cannot think right now. This is what happens when you get late night, boy. I'm about to close out. I gotta finish getting this lesson together and go to sleep. Let me see. Oh, here we go. I want you to see something. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Wax rich, right? Or becomes rich. Grows rich. This means a stranger, he being at the same time a sojourner with you, as the Targum renders it. Arel Totav, right? An uncircumcised stranger. So if an uncircumcised stranger, the phrase headily, the end of the verse proves this, for it states, he sells himself unto a strange sojourner without the copulation before the second word. The last word suggests by thee, because it says by thee. The last word suggests what was the cause that he had waxen rich, his close connection with you, right? And your brother waxed poor, he became poor. Here again, the last words, the sages, here again, the last word suggests what was the cause that he, I like that. What was the cause that he waxed poor? So in other words, by him. So what they said, that the rich guy waxed poor because of the stranger that got rich. So the rich guy got rich because of his working with you, but your brother got poor because of him getting rich. His intimacy with him, because of the fact that he learned evil from his stranger's evil doing. Oh, I don't know about that. This is when me and Rashi start going in different ways. He starts saying crazy stuff. Let me see what Ibn Ezra says. Eker, offshoot, means a root. The reference to a person who accepted the Hebraic religion. He himself is from a family of a stranger. All right, so I think y'all pretty much got what I was saying. I feel the sleepiness trying to get the best of me. It's been a long day, but I couldn't not be on here without seeing you guys, without giving y'all something for the night to be able to chew on as you prepare for the Shabbat. So I wanted you to be able to chew on some stuff and be ready for some stuff so that you can have it all ready for you on the Shabbat. So again, I want y'all to see all that I put into it. I want y'all to see all I put into this to make sure everything good for y'all. I did not want to leave y'all without something spoken or some kind of knowledge broken down about the Torah portion. But as y'all can see, it was a struggle. I don't know about these late night episodes. It was a struggle tonight. But anyway, I appreciate all of y'all being on here. And before we close out, I just want to play something from our Artist of the Week.
רק בך אמצא תקווה, אתה חזק גם בסערה, כשהכל בוער סביבי, אפתח בך, אתה מרים אותי גבוה מעל כל הקשיים, אני סמוך ובטוח בזרועותיך אלוהים, אתה מרים אותי גבוה, לא משנה מה שהיה, הניצחון כבר בידיך, אז אני רץ למטרה, הניצחון כבר בידיך, אז אני רץ למטרה. רק בך אמצא תקווה, אתה חזק גם בסערה, כשהכל בוער סביבי, אפתח בך, אתה מרים אותי גבוה מעל כל הקשיים, אני סמוך ובטוח בזרועותיך אלוהים.
Amen. Beautiful, beautiful song. All right, everyone. So let me get out here so I can get this Sabbath school lesson sent off for the congregation and so I can get some rest and be ready for the Shabbat. Appreciate all of y'all that's going to watch this on a repeat because so far, see, no one is awoke with me. No one is awoke with me. So I appreciate all of that. And we're going to close out. So, Shabbat Shalom. Shema Yisrael Adonai